Underpowered Hour. On this week's show, Ike and I are live from Defender Trophy in Texas. There's ups, there's downs, there's 2 hours of being lost in the woods. And now, without further delay, here's the show. Welcome to the Underpowered Hour. I'm Steve Barris, mild-mannered television executive by day and Land Rover collector by night. You can find out more about our cars and what we're working on at thebarriscollection.com or follow us on Instagram at thebarriscollection. I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Ike Goss.
Thank you to everyone joining us today. I'm the turned neck to Steven's 360-degree camera system. I'm the cervical pain of podcasting, Ike Goss. I own and operate Pangolin 4x4 in Springfield, Oregon, where we live and breathe Land Rovers. Check us out online on Facebook, Instagram at Pangolin 4x4. Let's get started.
All right, Ike. Well, we are here in this beautiful Texas hotel room, and we've just finished competing in the Defender Trophy 2023. Defender Trophy here in, I actually don't know where we are.
We are in Horseshoe Bay, Texas.
Horseshoe Bay, Texas. There you go.
At the Horseshoe Bay Golf and Spa Resort.
Ooh, it sure is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to both golf and spa at the same time.
I don't think I'm going to have time for that.
No?
No.
Maybe just the spa. I believe they have a putting green in one of the schwitzes in one of the steam rooms. So.
Oh, really? A putting green in the sauna?
Yeah.
Oh, well, not know that.
Be cool. So we showed up 2 days ago. You showed up midday. I showed up very late at night.
That's also true.
So let's go through the weekend of adventure. So first of all, we were invited here by our good friends at JLR. Thanks to Jeffrey Ahuden and to Joe Eberhardt and to the rest of the team for inviting us. We appreciate it. I'm sure we'll never be invited back. But we did, it was great. And a lot of fantastic folks from the Land Rover kingdom that we know are here. Jim Sweat and, Sean Gorman, a lot of the experienced team is here, which are great. Those folks are good friends, and it's good to see them. But we were invited here to compete professionally in the Defender Trophy.
That's true.
Which I thought was like a, sort of a Greco-Roman wrestling sort of event. As it turns out.
I noticed that when you unpacked your suitcase and it was...
just Speedos and oil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awkward.
Yeah.
We got here on the first evening and they sort of had an introduction to the event, and it's sort of, as the name implies, is a little bit of an homage to the Camel Trophy of years gone by, but it is condensed into a single day of competition with special tasks. Yeah. So most of the first evening was familiarizing everyone with the competition format and the vehicles themselves. Most of the competitors were owners, but not every owner had used their vehicle off-road, so some of the capabilities and functional features of the vehicle were reviewed, and certainly the winching was gone over because there were several tasks that would involve using the winch.
Right, how to pair your Bluetooth remote with your Bluetooth winch.
I had not previously used a Bluetooth remote winch, or winch remote, I should say. I had used the previous generation remote winches. No, the ones without the plug.
With the little like, it looks like kind of like a little paddle.
Yeah. It's kind of like a duck hunt remote.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
At any rate, that was, those are awkward to use.
Yeah.
Those are awkward to use.
Yeah.
So, getting used to that stuff, I think was important to get everybody on the same page for the competition the next day. Now, you missed most of that, so I
missed all of it. Yeah, it was great.
I kind of gave you the cliff notes, but they had everybody there, a real nice dinner, and then sort of an intensive instructional seminar about everything, and it was nice and well put together, and I think it prepared everybody pretty well for the next day.
Yeah, It sounded like it. I'm not sure that we fit the best talent to task there, so far as like gathering information, and either of us being there would have, I think only counted against us. What we really needed to do was send Liza and Jenna to that, and then have them slowly explain it to on a later day. But
maybe with pictures.
Maybe with pictures, yeah. But yesterday morning, we woke up, we had some breakfast with the other competitors, such as they are. There was a great team of folks down from Canada, Truck King YouTube channel, which is great. And those guys are super fun.
Yeah, we got to meet some of the other media that were there, some journalists and automotive stuff. So there was 3 journalist teams, and then there were 9 owner, I would say, teams.
Yep.
Land Rover owners or Defender owners that had purchased a vehicle and been invited to participate, and some were very enthusiastic. Each of the teams was mailed a team flag.
Ah, yes, yeah.
And so each team was supposed to decorate their flag to represent their team, and some people really went all out. And I leaned over to somebody at the dinner, and I was like, the people that are taking this seriously are the people with the best flags. So look for those folks to do really well. And spoiler alert, they did. The guys with the best flags did win.
Yeah, that's true. That is a key component, I guess, to winning. We didn't make a flag at all.
We didn't have a flag. Well, I didn't even know there was a flag.
No, I didn't know anything about the flag. We didn't get the flag. So instead, you just used a napkin or whatever.
So fast forward to the day of the competition. They took us to a nice little breakfast and explained a little bit more about the format for the day, and then they took us out to an off-road vehicle area, OHV area, just near the Horseshoe Bay.
Yeah.
And we immediately started into the task, and the first task was to find your vehicle. So this was an unscored portion. But
thank goodness, or maybe not. I mean, that would have been the So we started. It was a navigation challenge, basically.
Yeah, and it wasn't even that much of a navigation challenge. It was just really just a walk. Here you guys They did provide mountain bikes, but in sort of a twist. You could not put the mountain bike in the vehicle. Mm-hmm. So once you rode the mountain bike and got your vehicle, you'd have to bring it back to the start.
Yeah.
So it was an advantage to get there on the mountain bike, but a disadvantage once you were there. So we just opted to walk, which we didn't maybe take the most direct route, but
no, I would say
quite a while.
We definitely didn't take the most direct route.
It was a few miles to walk to get the vehicles, and some of the terrain was, it's an off-road park, so it's up and down and around and over ledges and all these sorts of things. So by the time you get to the vehicle, you feel like you've already done some stuff.
Yeah, it took us quite a while. At one point, we decided to just sort of take a bearing and just kind of make a beeline for where we thought we needed to be, which did require some a little bit of bushwhacking in the Texas wilderness. I wasn't
Steven got a lot of ticks.
Yeah, I had no idea the Lone Star tick was such a prominent issue down here. But I have like severe Lyme disease now, I guess. I don't know.
You don't get Lyme disease from the Lone Star tick, but what you do get is an allergic reaction to the proteins in meat. So the bite of this tick, which is a real thing. It sounds fake, but it's a real thing. The bite of the Lone Star tick will make you vegetarian.
Allergic to meat.
Crazy.
It is crazy. Why would a tick have developed that particular adaptation? That seems insane.
I don't know that it's necessarily an adaptation or a byproduct of it.
It's a weird side
evolution, but it is certainly interesting, and it is spreading at a rapid pace across the United States. So look for the Lone Star tick in your area very soon.
Yeah, very soon. Oh, that's good. Something to look forward to. Yeah, so we bushwhacked until we finally got to the first sort of checkpoint. We found some Land Rover people finally.
And they did tell us that, before we started, they were like, if you leave the roads, it is not going to save you any time. And that was accurate.
Yeah, 100%. Yes. Yeah.
So we were definitely a little behind when we actually got our vehicle. So we got our vehicle, and then we proceeded to the nearest special task, which was full of people. So we had to wait.
People. Yeah.
So some of the competitions have fewer or more competitors than ours. Was one of the more popular dates. So our competition was full. So there were actually more teams than there were special tasks.
Right.
So when you went to a special task, there was a possibility that someone would be there first and you would have to wait for them to finish.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of an element of chance in that you could drive to another task and maybe or maybe not someone would be doing a special task there, but that was part of the game.
Yeah, it's managing how much time you spend sitting in line versus driving places versus actually doing a points scoring event. So our first event, we decided we would go pretty far from the middle, thinking that maybe people were working from the outside in and we would go from or rather they were working from the outside in and we were going to work from the inside out, or the opposite of that. One of those two.
I don't know what you just said, but
we were going to go far away and come back. We thought that people would eventually make their way farther out. But, as it was, that wasn't really a winning strategy. There were people there too, but those ones were higher scoring. Those had a lot more points available. So we kind of, not even necessarily on purpose, maybe a little on purpose, decided to go for all the high scoring ones first.
One thing I noticed about some of the special tasks, and the special tasks, I'll explain a little bit. Some of them are driving, positioning the vehicle, or turning around in a circle, negotiating a tight space or something like this. And then others are, tasks outside of the vehicle, more like teamwork related.
Yeah.
Using boards as skis and walking with them and roping, because we're in Texas, using a lasso, winching, lifting a barrel full of water onto a trailer and then driving the trailer around and negotiating the trailer and backing it up and these sorts of things. So they varied quite a bit, and the complexity of the task and the amount of time that it took didn't necessarily correspond to its point value.
No.
So some of the more simple tasks that took less time might score more points. So, it wasn't necessarily obvious when you pulled up how much time was required to complete a special task.
Yeah. And the first one we did was turning the Defender 130, the world's longest vehicle, around inside of a circle that was probably about the length of a Defender 130. It was maybe a couple feet on either side or something.
Yeah, no, it wasn't much space, and depending on how far into into the arc of the circle you were, you might have very little space. So you might get in a total Austin Powers situation where you were just moving only a few inches back and forth to avoid hitting the PVC and rope cordon around the perimeter. And, I think the trick to this one was there was a penalty for hitting the rope and hitting the PVC barrier, but that penalty was actually a time penalty, and that amount of time was less than if you just did a 3-point turn and turned around and left. So if you hit the canes, 2 or 3 times and exited the circle, you could complete the task in a much shorter period of time than if you just tried to, do very small, slight negotiations of the circle and turned around, which takes much longer. It sounds pretty simple, but if you do it sort of the conventional way, it might take you on average 8 to 12 minutes to negotiate just back and forth.
And that's a great example of maybe not fitting talent to tasks. Right?
There's definitely a trick, and I think that was the crux of a lot of the special tasks is some of the rules are designed to mislead you into taking too much time or not taking a shortcut.
Yeah. I famously am not the greatest at backing things up back and forth and back and forth and back and forth as I can protest to, and running into a number of things in his yard.
It's been a lot of casualties in my parking lot.
Yeah, based on rental cars and chassis and what have you. But anyways, we decided that was the right team combo. So Ike stood outside and tried to tell me how far away I was as I slowly Austin Powers that thing in the circle, which was okay. I think we got, I don't know, 12, 13 minutes, something like that. and we ended up getting 2 penalties. So if we had just driven in and smashed into it 2 or 3 times and driven out, we would have been better by like 10 minutes or so.
Oh yeah,
So it would have been a huge.
Would have been amazing. But as it stood, we must have done relatively well because we only did 4 of the 12 special tasks, or 10 special tasks, excuse me, and we did. Spoiler alert! We were surprisingly competitive.
Oh yeah, we were surprisingly. We thought, we started the day. I think about 2.5 hours after the shotgun start, we finally got to our car, and so we figured, well, at this point, this is it. It's game over. There was only 1 other car there. And 2 other cars? 2 other cars. Yeah. And so we thought, well, out of 12 teams, that puts us in the bottom third for sure. But yeah, as it turns out, it didn't go so badly. So then the next task, just down from the circle, was the Nerf sniper situation.
Yeah, and this was kind of like how would you describe this? I mean, it's sort of it sounds silly when you describe it, right? You drive the vehicle through a course and you use a toy gun to shoot bottles off of a hillside. But it was fun. Yeah. It was fun to do, and the targets alternated from one side of the vehicle to the other, and you had to keep track of your ammunition and how much you had left, so you would ensure that you had enough to do the circuit. And they had like a little trivia sort of questionnaire, so that you could earn more ammunition, more opportunity to complete it. But we did fine.
Yeah, I mean, again, I got, I think, 2 out of 8. Ike got 8 out of 8, like single shots. It was bizarre. It was like like a contract killer or something. Like just really good at Nerf gunning. In a way,
knew?
Yeah. Who knew? And the gentleman running that task said like it was like the best performance he saw all day. So possible we got full points for that one. Not because of me. I couldn't get the feel for that Nerf gun.
Those are tricky. Those are tricky. I think you gotta be. I don't know. I've spent a lot of times with firearms as a youth.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, Nerf firearms specifically.
That's the benefit of growing up in the United States.
That's right.
Canada.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I just can't. It's so foreign to me. I just don't understand it. So yeah. Anyway, so then we drove down to the next special task, but the road itself is a little off-roady. I mean, it's not like the world's most difficult off-roading by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not just a dirt road. There were some, certainly there was some big washouts, some big ruts that they had to cross, and there was a little bit of, rocky hill climbing and stuff. But
the vehicle did really well. It was surprising some of the, obstacles that you might hang up a lesser vehicle without more care.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time looking at maps, and there was definitely a little bit of distracted driving.
If anybody's ever driven with me, it's only about 50% attention at any time. So,
so there was a couple of surprise ruts or ledges that the vehicle took in stride.
Yeah, we didn't blow any tires, and we didn't break anything. We lost a GoPro for a minute, but we found it again. So
yeah, no significant damage except to the ego.
Maybe. Yeah, for sure. That'll never. The mental scars may never heal. So then we get to the next special task. Our good friend Jim Sweat is there. It was great to see Jim. He's a friend of the show, Camel Trophy competitor, all around great guy. And this one was what you mentioned earlier, the sort of 2-man log skiing and then calf roping.
Yeah. This one was definitely a teamwork task. You kind of had to walk in a coordinated way on these skids that were made of 4x4 posts.
Yeah.
And then you had to walk back and forth.
Holding them with ropes, so sort of coordinating the lifting of your foot and hand with your partners, and sort of
And then at the end of each course, you would have to do some lassoing, which I've never done before. Never had to do that.
Good though. You did a good job.
I think it was again teamwork, and so on this one we were pretty successful, and we tied for first.
We tied for first against actual cowboys.
That's what we were told.
Yeah, that's what Jim said.
I think they're just they're trying to make you feel good.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, you guys did really well against real cowboys. real cowboys.
Yeah. No, it was good. So, so we did that, and I think we did pretty good. We didn't fall off the logs once, which I was surprised that we didn't ever have to start over on the logs because we always did. We're just that in sync,
And then the last task that we did was, just right down to the wire, really close to the end. We had about 20 minutes, and we were able to get one more special task.
Well, there's the tire one first.
Oh, the tire changing one.
Yeah.
Yes, I didn't neglect that one. I don't necessarily view that as a special task.
No, really, it was just we had to change a tire, but not because we needed to.
They were just like, okay, can you guys do some maintenance on these vehicles? You guys change the oil.
Do a quick oil change. Yeah, do a little clean the windows.
That would be smart.
Yeah.
That would be smart. No, they had you change a tire in place, and I've changed a lot of tires in my day, but a lot of new cars have special little tools and tricks, and so the gist of it was, you have to use the factory supplied toolkit to change the tire on the vehicle, and take the tire on a circuit around the vehicle, get back in the car with the tools stored in their factory locations, and then put your seatbelt on. And you were timed for this, and so the best time, assumably, with the fewest penalties, would win, and they would penalize you for unsafe procedures.
Yeah, anything that was unsafe. Yeah, sure. Which is funny because the car itself doesn't come with any wheel chocks.
No, I'm always used to using wheel chocks to change tires, especially on an uneven surface, and so it's just a safety precaution that I was always taught to prevent the vehicle from rolling. And so the new Defender, does not come with wheel chocks.
Right.
And I think that's probably true of a lot of newer cars.
I would think so. Yeah, they're mostly meant to have their tires changed on the side of the road, or probably towed to a tire place.
To a tire place. Yeah. So the equipment that comes with the vehicle is not necessarily what you might ideally want to use.
Yeah. And these cars aren't outfitted like the Trek cars with a high lift jack or anything. Although I am convinced that a high lift jack would put a wrinkle down the middle of the door of the new Defender based on where its lifting points are.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not designed to accept a high lift jack. It doesn't have a lifting socket or extension or anything. And the high lift jack is also pretty unstable.
Yeah, over unstable. Yeah.
At any rate, this task, the trick of this task was that the Defender has a special lug stud centering tool that you thread onto one lug to center the wheel so that you can put the lug nuts on, because they're really more of a tube nut.
Yeah.
And so it's the clearances around the wheel are pretty tight. It's not like a conventional tapered lug nut.
Yeah.
Which some would say is silly.
Yeah. Yeah. It sure is. Also, they're smaller than the conventional Land Rover lug nuts. They're quite a bit smaller. They're like to Ford Ranger kind of size now, where they used to be, but it's been the same size since, I don't know, forever. Like certainly every series truck shares, the same size with the Discovery and everything else. But the new trucks are smaller. And yeah, those little nuts, I just assumed, oh man, we'll just bang this tire on and thread it on. And after struggling for maybe...
you assumed that for a long time.
I probably too long. I think too long. We probably assumed that. And you do need that little centering tool to actually get the tire located properly and to thread them. And I don't think it's so much of a where it goes in the hole as much as it is not having the tire leaning one way or another by too much, because if those nuts aren't perfectly concentric to the to the hole in the tire or in the wheel rather, it's just impossible to get them on.
And the jack lifts from the side of the vehicle, so the suspension is extended. And at the jack's full extension, the tire is only off the ground half an inch.
Yeah,
it's not very much leeway.
I thought about using the air suspension to lower the vehicle out of off-road height. I'm not sure if that would have helped us or hurt us.
I don't know what that does.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a time to start experimenting, but...
I think that is one of the takeaways for me. I didn't do a lot of driving in the vehicle on this particular event, but certainly, the the complexities of the vehicle, even with a simple task like changing a tire, definitely don't make it easy.
No, it doesn't. That's true.
Definitely don't make it easier to complete some of these things. Basic tasks. You're like, this is more complicated than it should be. Pairing the winch remote with the car, like it's a lot of solutions to problems that shouldn't exist.
Yeah, that really don't. Yeah, questions being answered that weren't being asked.
Yes.
So then after the tire change, which I think we did pretty good timing wise. I mean, I don't think we did significantly worse than any of the other teams. I think
we didn't watch the other teams, so we have no basis in saying that. But based on the finishing results, it must have been okay.
So then we proceeded down to try to figure out. We had basically 25 minutes or something, right? To do one more thing. Now these things were taking us on average, give or take, about 30 minutes. By the time you wait in line, you get into the task, you do it. So we thought, well, all right, if we come back late, for every 3 minutes you come back late or something, you get a point deducted. We thought, well, I don't know, even if we come back 10 minutes late and lose 3 points, we're going to make 40 points or something, or 50 points or whatever on the last one. It's probably worth doing it, which ended up, I think, being a good strategy, because I think that definitely helped us. But the last task, well, first of all, we tried to find another one, and then we drove around a little bit as someone was completing one of the tasks. So we decided to just give up and sit there and wait. And this one was a winching task.
Yeah, this one was mostly a winching task, but it was a driving and negotiating task. And it was definitely, I would say, the most complicated of the tasks that we did in the day, as far as like setting up and rigging and, being careful to follow all the rules and not get penalties. So basically the gist of it was that you used 2 snatch blocks and the winch to lift a water-filled barrel onto a trailer. Then you negotiated a course with the trailer, which the barrel was unsecured to the trailer.
That's right. It was just sitting on there. It had some load in it, dirt or something in the bottom of it. But
it was water.
Oh, was it water? Yeah,
I believe it was water. So the trick there is you got to go slow, because it is the ground's uneven, and the possibility the barrel tips off is relatively high if you go fast. And if you tip over the barrel, you have to start all over.
Yeah.
So that was all going really well until what?
Well, you once you loaded the barrel, you'd set up the winch, and they had a little block and tackle. You'd lift the barrel, set it onto the thing. We got through that like in record time. You'd snatch block a tree and lift from the from the front of the car to the back of the car, sort of a thing. So we set all that up, tore all that down, jumped in the car. I was the first one to drive because I'd been driving. And all you had to do was drive in a circle. There was a set of cones, allegedly, set out in the shape of a circle. By this time, there were tire tracks everywhere. And I don't know what happened, but I got a little cone blind. And I just couldn't see the circle. I was driving. I drove out of it. Then I drove around it. Then I drove through it at one point. Like, it was insane. I could not figure out where the circle was.
Steven's strong point was never connect the dots. And
I struggle with that.
Yeah. So basically, there were 2 sets of cones that make concentric circles, and you were supposed to drive the path between those circles.
Yes.
And Steven went outside the lines a little bit, and it cost us some time. I don't think it was. I think maybe there was a penalty when you ran over one of the cones. And to be fair, there was never a time where he said drive over the cones.
No, he didn't say drive over the cones. I was just like, at that point, it was just trying to salvage that run and kind of get back into, honestly, it was just like, all I was thinking was, I got to just get this car lined up so that Ike can hopefully do this very quickly, because I am clearly, really gone off track here. So
it was like a family circus cartoon.
Oh,
have you ever seen those where Billy runs through the neighborhood and there's a dotted line where it just like goes everywhere, wiggles back and forth, and that was basically the circuit that Steven took. And watching it with the marshal was hilarious.
Yeah.
He was having a good time.
He was having a good time, yeah. So if nothing else, entertainment.
So each of us had to do this this circuit, and I was slightly more concise in my trace of the circle.
In that you drove in a circle.
I did drive in a circle. And then you had to back the trailer in and reverse the process. So, string out the winch again, lift the barrel off of the trailer, unhook the trailer, put all the recovery gear away, get in the car, put your seatbelt on, and then they would stop.
And this was your first time driving an automatic transmission.
It was. It was, and I failed. I could not put the vehicle in reverse. I did not. I've never really driven the Defender in reverse. So
you didn't diddle the little gear shift toggle.
I didn't even realize that was a thing.
Yeah.
So who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew? So I can no longer claim that I haven't done that. But my total driving for the entire event was probably like 150 feet.
Yeah, not on purpose. It's just sort of how it.
No, it was fine. It was fine. It was really good to ride along and watch all the other teams, execute the tasks. And, one thing that I think was pretty consistent throughout the entire event is everybody was having a good time. You know? I think this was a little bit different for a lot of the owners, they had not used the vehicles off-road, whether that's just because they hadn't had the opportunity or whether they're maybe a little bit intimidated and afraid that they might damage their own vehicles. So this is a really good opportunity for them to, take the cars out, learn how to use them, become familiar with them. And everybody, I think without exception, I didn't see anybody that was having a bad time.
No, everybody was having a great time. And we ended up coming in, I think, a couple minutes late, but actually not even as bad as we thought that it was going to be. And we weren't the last team. The last team came in, I guess they got lost coming back, and they were like a half an hour late coming back.
Yeah, and so, as Steve mentioned earlier, you get penalized for being late to the finish. And they were so late that they ultimately ended up with 0 points.
0 points, yeah.
0 points. So the entire day, they did, I think, a lot of the tasks. Eight tasks?
Six tasks. Oh, yeah, they did kind of almost everything. They did way more than we did.
Yeah, and they somehow ended with 0 points, but they still had a good time. So that was cool to see. And none of the tasks were especially complicated or intensive or involved, but I think they were interesting and they kept people engaged, and people were able to try something new. And good.
We missed the fire starting one, which for those that don't know, I can start a fire in a bucket of water. So I think that we could have crushed that one, but next time, I guess.
Next time, I mean, you should just practice starting fires.
Yeah, I'm going to work on that. Just some hobbyist arson, and then the big dinner that evening. So we came back here, kind of got cleaned up and undirtied and whatever else, and then headed over to like a little restaurant, golf club, yacht club, resort thing, just a couple doors down.
Yeah, I think they call it the Cap Rock Restaurant. So it's kind of a fancy place that they have at this resort. Had a nice dinner, sort of an awards ceremony, handed out some prizes. And with each successive announcement of the next place, we were kind of confused because we thought since we didn't complete so many tasks, we thought we weren't very competitive. But turns out we must have done relatively well on all our tasks because we ended up in fourth place.
Fourth place out of 12 teams.
Fourth place. And
pretty good.
It's pretty good, or maybe it represents a shallow talent pool.
You're right. I think that's probably more the latter.
I think the point of this is, like I said, to get people engaged with their vehicles and to learn a little bit more about the Defender.
Yeah, and it was fun. It was like a neat experience. Good people. The truck was fun to drive around, and
it was a nice afternoon. The weather was good, and they had it set up, and the pacing was good. I was pretty impressed that there wasn't a tremendous amount of downtime throughout the day. So it was really nice.
Yeah, nothing says adventure like starting the day off with a hike through the middle of the woods.
Yeah, you got a lot of ticks.
Yeah, it was. For a second we thought one of us might have to eat the other. It got real for just a little bit. But
Stephen was hoping for a rattlesnake bite. You have to suck the poison.
You have to suck the poison out of this. Yeah, I was looking, but no success. Just ticks.
Just ticks.
So many ticks. God. Yeah. So many ticks. It's it was good. It's fun to be down here in Texas. So we'll be back in Texas next week
Next week.
In our all Texas series. We'll be headed this time to Somerville, Texas, for Destination Defender.
And we'll see some of the same instructors and same folks at that event. And looking forward to all the club engagement and seeing some of the club members and other things that they've going on.
And if you're interested, you can still come to Destination Defender.
Yeah, if you are a member of a Land Rover Club, I believe there is a voucher for free.
It's a completely free entry. Yeah, that's great. I think also if you bring a classic Defender, you can get in for free. And if you bring a new Defender, you park for free. So there's a significant discount, and you have special parking with other new Defenders.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good deal. It's like they've got a concert in the evening with a bunch of bands, and they've got a bunch of instructional seminars. Our good friend Nick Dimbleby will be there doing a photography seminar, I believe.
It's worth it just for that.
Man. Yeah, it's actually a really, really good deal. There's a lot going on for not very much money.
Yeah, Mike Bishop will be there.
Mike Bishop will be there. We'll be there. Jenna and Liza will be there.
Yes. It'll be great.
It'll be great. So hope to see you there.
Yeah, hope to see you there. Fits in the Tantrums. Liza will be sitting in again this year with the band, I'm sure. And we're looking forward to that. So we shot all kinds of YouTube content for this. And so we'll have that video up soon. But if you haven't checked out the videos that are up there now, like Ike hasn't, you should check them out. We've got the trip through the UK.
Yep.
We've got some work on on one of the series trucks, the Series 3 that's up at Pangolin right now, soon to be for sale. So if you want to see what the underside of it looks like before you buy it, then there you go.
Yeah, check out those undercarriage photos.
Oh, so good. Yeah, both mine and the cars. A lot of upshooting from the ground. It's just
nobody wants
my best angle. It's my best angle. So yeah, so check that out. Lots more YouTube content coming soon. We have the forward control pickup video. We'll have all this stuff from Destination Defender. All kinds of good stuff. Vlado's coming up to Pangolin. Maybe we'll send a camera up there so you can do a little work with Vlado.
Vlado from Land Roverista on Instagram is coming to visit us from Slovakia towards the end of the month. So that'll be fun. Yeah. And we'll do some driving around in Series 1s. He specifically wants to look at some 107 wagons because he's going to embark on a restoration coming up real soon. So look for some content geared around Series 1 station wagons real soon.
That's cool. 107s are super cool.
Yep.
Super fun. All right. Well, it's been a lot of fun here in Texas. And what do you think? Would you do it again if you were asked to come back and defend your fourth place title?
I think there's a good chance.
Yeah. I think next time we definitely have to bring Liza and Jenna, though, because we would have easily won.
I think the problem with that is there's two people on a team, so we might be competing against us.
Oh,
so.
yeah. Well, in that case, maybe not.
Yeah. It's not such a good idea.
Yeah. I imagine Jenna's probably pretty good at starting fires. So
I think so.
Yeah. Well, we'd be done. Maybe they're not quite as good as synchronized log walking. I'm not sure. We seem to have a special talent for that one. So I don't know why that is, but Jim seemed impressed. He's not an easy guy to impress. But
he's a great guy.
He seemed impressed.
He's a great guy. Really like seeing him there.
Yeah, it was great. All right. Well, that's it for this week, and we're off to home and then back to Texas next week.
Yeah. Goodbye from Texas, and
hello from Texas.
See you next week in Texas.
Exactly. All right.
The Underpowered Hour is produced by Liza Veris, Ike Goss, and me, Steve Veris. Pavel Svardov composed and performed our theme music. Consider supporting the show on Patreon, and if you already do, thank you. Your support makes the show possible. For even more, check out our Instagram or Facebook.